If you have all the characters in Honkai Star Rail, when was the last time you used Natasha, Bailu, Lynx, and maybe even Loucha? With the announcement of Jiaoqiu, a nihility unit that can also heal, if you have seen my pre-beta kit breakdown, you know how he will enable the Acheron team and perhaps even on paper introduce I kill you before you kill me playstyle. On paper, once again, he might end up replacing the abundance unit, especially if your team is going against enemies that do not have devastating debuffs, like crowd controls or multiple stacks of dots. Does this mean abundance units, especially pure healer with less utility, is going to go obsolete? Like Natasha, Lynx, Bailu, and even Loucha? Currently, when it comes to abundance, most people bring Huo and Gallagher because they are more like a hybrid unit, which is why I think they're still going to be relevant for a while, thanks to their offensive utility. Based on my observation, if nothing is done about the problems that I'm going to talk about in a bit, most likely, yes, the traditional abundance will become obsolete and you will always use the better alternative instead. Don't get me wrong though, all of them are still very usable and most likely you can still clear all the content in the game, but you need to work harder for it. I'm talking about adventuring boss. But if there's a much better and easier alternative, why bother bringing the worst ones, right? Before we start with the main topic, lastly, I just want to share the purpose of why I'm making this video. I'm someone that really cares and is obsessed with balance in video games because I want all characters in gacha games to be good and playable without having to go through all of these loops and unnecessary path just for them to be good. I have the platform available to me to voice my concern and hopefully it will help other players to resonate with such concerns and give this particular feedback to the developers. From just one voice to multiple voices. Which one way you can do it is through filling the survey every update. And also I understand and acknowledge that power creep is always an issue in gacha games and trying to balance them out is not an easy matter. Especially with turn-based games with very limited ways on how you should play most of the time. Which is why Star Rail has done a good job by bringing a variety of characters and different kind of gameplays. Because it makes me sad to see the characters that I spend my resources on becomes power crap or even obsolete against the latest content that Honkai Star Rail has given us. Anyway, I digress. Moving to the main topic, there are two fundamental problems with most abundance unit, excluding Huo and Gallagher, which I think are the following. Number 1. The game doesn't encourage a defensive or stall strategy, as all the challenges, even simulated universe to a certain extent, have a time limit how at higher difficulty in gold and gears the enemy will obtain berserk state and get stronger every turn. Because of the time limit, you're encouraged to always be on the offensive, so characters that can provide healing and also assisting with the offensive action in the team has a lot of value. The fact that the game doesn't encourage defensive or stall strategy applies to preservation unit as well. But since preservation has more utilities like helping with toughness bar, since most of their ultimates are offensive, and also providing buffs or applying debuff. Which is why the later abundance unit like Huo and Gallagher is so much more relevant since they boost your overall offensive power. Loucha is still on the good side, but lately there hasn't been that many enemies that really need to have their buff removed. Which is why he is not preferred, but still very usable, unlike Lynx, Natasha, or Bailu, when it comes to dealing with in-game content. The second problem would be having too much healing doesn't help your team, which is different from preservation unit. Always renewing your shield benefits your team's overall for longer survivability, as your shield will always be chipped, and even if the shields are low, the character's health is still there as a good cushion until the shield is renewed. On the other hand, with abundance, we don't want to wait our characters to be low in health before we decided to heal them, as that has a risk of killing our characters if we get unlucky with the enemy AI. And also the extra healing that goes beyond your maximum HP will just go to waste. Which is why the older preservation like Bailu, Natasha, Lynx that have kits mostly revolving only on healing are barely seen in endgame content, since you don't need that much healing. These two problems really make Abundance so hard to design without ending up making a hybrid units like Huoho and Gallagher, or the developer just end up making another healer that is not within the path of Abundance. I'm talking about Fushuan and Jiaoqiu, since both have some healing capabilities. So how to address this particular issue and make traditional Abundance unit to be considered and maybe even relevant again? There are three things that come to my mind. First, make a challenge that encourages defensive playstyle. Hoyoverse is well known for their games that never encourages defensive playstyle. For Honkai Star Rail, modes like Memory of Chaos, Pure Fictions, and even the new Apocalyptic Shadow really want you to be very offensive as you want to clear the challenge within a specific amount of turn. Which is why an Abundance unit that only heals doesn't contribute much. Simulated Universe is a great place since they have some option to play defensively, as you can convert some of the healing or even shields into damage. As with the blessings of the Abundance path, you can convert the healing and charging them into a fixed amount of damage. But that particular playstyle is still not great since the enemies in the latter stage of the Simulated Universe hits really hard, even if you've played defensively. So what's the point of having a lot of healing but you still die within one hit? The one way I can think of on how a defensive playstyle can be encouraged is to have a survival mode. Fighting waves upon waves of enemies and survive their onslaught, and you can win when a set amount of turn has passed, or when you manage to break all the enemy's toughness bar, or even when their shared health is depleted. I don't think that is an impossibility since that can be part of the challenge, because the devs have introduced a multi-layered toughness bar and a link HP bar. The second solution would be introducing a healing overflow mechanics. This is what Genshin eventually decided to do, making the extra HP you receive and convert them into something else. With Kokomi in Genshin, thanks to an artifact set, those healings will be converted into damage, while someone like Farina is able to convert the extra healing you receive into bonus damage buffed to your party. So if we translate or implement this into the game, healers like Natasha, Lynx, Bailu, and Loucha, they can heal for a lot, and those extra heals that usually goes to waste will provide some value. And because of that, they can be considered again when it's being put in the party if you like that kind of playstyle. I think this particular mechanic is deserved to be considered by the developers. And I think this can be achieved by either making a light cone, a relic sets, or even introduce a characters that revolves around healing overflow mechanic. And the third solution that I can think of is to make a character that wants to be healed in scale of HP. If this is a character that has their stats boosted by the amount they are healed, and also scales of HP, so that they may take the advantage of a lot of the healing and also act as a tank. Maybe the kit will be something like very close to Arlan. He will consume HP instead of skill point every time he uses skill, basic attack, or ultimate. Maybe make it very close to like Firefly that consumes HP, but there's no way for them to actually recover their own HP, unlike Firefly. But the moment they actually got healed, they get a massive boost out of it. So high risk, high reward. Currently, there's only Blade that works as DPS that scales with HP. But even then, there's no dedicated support that works well with him, and more general support like Bronya and Ranmei are in his team instead. Maybe a support that helps Blade when every time he heals a character and the healers end up overflowing the healing, or every time he heals someone, they also provide buffs. Well, that's just an idea. Well, that's the conclusion that I came up with after thinking hard about it. I'm sure there's more to the design problem that I have mentioned, and also there are more solutions that can be proposed to make the old Abundance/traditional unit become more relevant again. So if you have anything to add regarding this particular topic, do comment and let me learn from you as well. With that being said, I really appreciate what the devs has been doing with their characters as of late. In Star Rail, almost all of them have unique mechanics that shapes the character's identity and allows for a diverse playstyle for the players. But at this point, they're still old characters that require some attention and deserve to enjoy the spotlight again. I really hope that it will be addressed at some point. I'm thinking I'm going to make a top 5 video of 5 characters that needs to be buffed, so look forward to that as well at some point. If you're curious on exactly what Jiaoqiu can do according to his pre-beta test kit, check out my video as I have made quite a good amount of analysis on what his capability is, which so far looks very promising and might be open up to some interesting team composition, especially involving Acheron, and in pure fiction mode. So do check them out if you're someone that doesn't care about being spoiled with characters kit and just want to enjoy and get to know the character's mechanics. I will put the link on the top right, on the description, and also at the end screen. Thanks so much for watching. Really curious about your thoughts. Don't forget to comment. Until the next video, stay sharp, gamers.
Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe!
Destiny unfolds.